So how are you supposed to respond in an interview when someone asks, tell me about yourself? This is a question that people find so difficult to answer. It really is simple, but you need to know the trick on how to answer this. Most people will start by answering, I was born in California and I grew up and went to this college, and when I got my first job, I was working here or there, and they walk through just a chronology of their background, or they just go direct to their resume and walk them straight through the resume. And that's not that interesting. The hiring manager has probably already read your resume. So why not take the opportunity to tell them something new, something interesting, something that's going to hook them? Well, what hooks them is, what can you do for my company? So that's where you want to start with the tell me about yourself, which is today. What can I do for a company today? So in my case, I would answer, I help people figure out what it is they want to do with their career, and I help guide them through every step on how to land it. Right? Instead, if I just said, well, I started by working at JP Morgan in fixed income institutional sales and trading. And then I worked at Fidelity Investments, first as a product manager for the high income funds, and then for the asset management division, managing a team of portfolio analysts. Now I coach. I think that's so boring. Plus, it doesn't tell them. Most people, when I say that, say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you go from financial services to coaching? So you really want to kind of help them understand today what you're doing, what's important, what's the impact you're going to have on their company. Because then they can identify with that as their situation. So when I say I help people figure out what it is they want to do with their career and then guide them through every step on how to land it, they say, oh my gosh, I think I need you, or my spouse needs you. And then I can tell them more. Then I can tell them, yeah, I totally understand. I had a 22-year career in financial services. I know exactly what that's like. I've sat in that seat. I've also been a hiring manager, so I know what it's like to interview people and what hiring managers are typically looking for. So that's where I bring in my background, and that's what you can do. Bring in the so what of your experiences. Don't just state that you had experiences. Tell me why it's important today. Why does this make you a more valuable candidate? Don't expect they're going to surmise this just by looking at your resume. Trust me, they won't get everything off of your resume. So you really kind of have to spoon feed people the story you want them to get. Don't think they're just going to look and go, oh yeah, this looks like a person who can bring us into international markets through e-commerce channels. No, you got to give it right to them. So how to answer, tell me about yourself. First, you start with, what can you do today? What is the outcome that a company might get if they hire you? Then you bring in your background. So talk about your different experiences and why it contributes to what you can do now. Bring in your skill set. And then finally, bring in anything else that makes you unique and different. So for example, in mine, I worked on the sell side and then the buy side of investment management, and it gives me a really interesting perspective of knowing how the others work because they partner in business. So bring in anything else that makes you unique and different. Think about, what are some of the things that make me better than the next person in getting this job? Because that's the other thing you want to think about, is this isn't just in me terms. It's me relative to all of the other people that they're interviewing for this position. So competitive advantage, pointing out unique perspectives that you have are also going to be very important in this tell me about yourself question. So practice it. This is something you really need to nail, and a lot of people don't. So why don't you get ahead of the competition and learn how to really answer this properly to hook them into wanting to know more and having them know that you can help their business. And make sure you practice it. Practice it out loud. You want to make sure you're not rambling or and that you're staying on point. Good luck.